In the words of Maya Angelou, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. And to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. In my segment, I like to take you on a journey to discover all those fun and exciting things we are missing in our day-to-day living. Welcome to Life with Style, and I'm your host, Shannon Yang.
Welcome to Life with Style. Today, I have a secret guest in the interview room. And without further ado, let's just take a look at who he is and what he's going to say about himself. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell our audience who you are and what do you do?
My name is Chris O'Rourke, and I am a local of Las Vegas for almost 18 years. Mm-hmm. I am a metal sculptor. If you've ever been to the Henderson Hospital in the last year and few months, you've seen one of my pieces. Their signature piece in front of the main hospital entrance is one of mine.
I've actually seen one metal sculpture in front of the City Hall. Is that also yours?
Not in front of the City Hall. I had one inside the City Hall on display for a little while.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that was a while ago, right?
Yeah, it was back in 2014. The reflective metal one on the second floor.
Right.
That was me. It's called Family.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite piece actually.
One of mine too, obviously. I have a young family, and that is what inspired that piece. That piece, Family, was completed in 2013, and I took it all the way to Grand Rapids, Michigan to compete in a show out there called Art Prize with that piece.
So talk about Family. I mean, it reminded me, I'm very curious, do you have like one of your favorite piece in all the artworks you have done?
Family is, I've actually built Family in two different scales. I never duplicate my work, but I will replicate it. And when I say replicate, it's not an exact copy, it will be done in a different scale. And let's say if one is, the first Family I built was 38 inches tall, and the second Family I built was 6.5 feet tall. So it was twice as big. And the reason I did it twice as big is because my son, when he was much younger, really showed a liking for the small Family. Mm-hmm. And the competition that I did in Grand Rapids is really focused on kids. And the pieces that the kids are attracted to seem to do really well in the overall scheme of the event.
So what brought you into the metal sculpting business?
As a young man, I took shop classes in high school when we still had vocational schools, or vocational training, I should say, in high schools. Mm-hmm. I don't think we have that a lot anymore, unfortunately. But I had taken some wood shop and some metal shop classes in my high school career, and absolutely loved metalworking. Out of school, I went to a trade school for heating and air conditioning and refrigeration, and it's always been a great thing to fall back on, but metal has always been my passion. And when I had an opportunity to work in the metal industry, I took full advantage of it. And things just kind of progressed from building signs to building motorcycles to building furniture, and now to building sculpture pieces. And I still do a lot of architectural work. It's kind of what pays the bills, so to speak.
So have you been in Las Vegas for a long time? I mean, have you been like Las Vegas local since you were young, or?
No, I moved here when I was about 30 years old from Southern California. Mm-hmm. And my dad and my stepmom actually live in Las Vegas. So when I moved here, it was kind of like coming to be with them, which was really kind of nice. So I already had some established family members here, which always makes any transition a little bit easier.
And what do you think about Las Vegas art community?
You know, I think the Las Vegas art community is very strong, but I think it's a little bit under-publicized. I think that we have a lot of resources here. I've met tons of fabulous artists.
And very talented too.
And and they don't get the publicity that I think that they really deserve. And a lot of times I think there's a lot of factors going on, but one of them is that big business, like the casinos and stuff, they maybe not value things that are made here as much as maybe somebody that has made something in, let's say, New York.
Probably more into a brand name, or?
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing, is that these Las Vegas locals are going to have that name, and what I would really like to see the casinos do is to invest in the local artists to help create that brand. And that's exactly what it'll do.
Yes, and it actually also helps the local business as well.
Absolutely. I buy my materials here. I pay my power bill here. I mean, and if I ever need any help, I hire local.
Yeah. So talk about metal work, like because I saw some of the creative pieces. They look very abstract. I mean, has that always been your style?
You know, there's a lot of artists that do what I call representational work, and let's say it's a what they call a bust, which would be a head and shoulders, and you can tell who it is because it's very sculpted and it's very representational of who it's representing.
Mm-hmm.
That, in my personal opinion, not to take away from that, because there's a time and place and there's art for everything, and in my personal opinion, that is a very defined piece. In other words, if you walk up and see a bust of let's say, well, anybody, you can tell that it's them. Like, let's say it's Ziggy Marley. Oh, that's Ziggy Marley. There's nothing really left for the interpretation and the imagination of the viewer. And with abstract work, I leave a lot to the viewer to define. And for me, that's a lot of fun because what I've noticed this firsthand, and I've experienced it firsthand, is that people, if it's abstract, two people might walk up on the piece at the same time, and one is just kind of thinking, but they're thinking out loud, and the other thinks they're talking to them, and so all of a sudden this really interesting conversation gets started. And if that was something that was more defined, that conversation would never be had.
Will you get offended if they have a completely different idea than what you were trying to sculpt?
Absolutely not. That's what abstract is about. You know, a lot of times the ideas that viewers have are better than the idea that I had when I designed it and put it together.
And then you're like, wow, I have never thought about it. It actually looks like that.
Exactly. And I'm so open to that different definition and the engagement of the viewer that just actually, in my opinion, that increases the experience.
And usually what inspires you to start a piece? Like we all know, like sometimes people might start something first and then they will start, they will kind of change into something else. Or some people that like to have a general idea about what I want to do and they will focus on doing that. I mean, like what is your process?
My process usually has a general, very, very general direction that I start to go in.
Is it like a vague direction?
Very vague. And if it deviates in any way, shape, or form, it typically deviates for the better. So I let that process just play out. And I literally, sometimes I feel like I'm in a van that I'm not driving. And that's the beauty of it, is that the creation just becomes what it was always meant to be, whether it's my idea or the input of my wife or my kids or a visitor or whatever. And I'm not so arrogant to think that my ideas are the best. So I love hearing new ideas, especially in that design, when you're in that sweet spot and you get a little bit different perspective of something, it actually can be beautiful and it can turn into something way better than I ever thought it could be.
I totally agree. Since we are very short on time today, but I have seen some of your works on your website. And for example, there's a mother cult.
Yeah.
I mean, that really inspired me. I mean, that got me think of a lot of stuff. I mean, it's very abstract, of course, but I like it. So I want you to tell our viewers, if they want to see more of your artwork, where can they find you?
Well, I am all over the web. ChrisOCreations.com. I own ChrisOCreations.net. I'm Chris O Creations on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And don't forget, if you write to me about your thoughts on Chris artwork, you will actually be able to get Chris piece at his cost.
I am willing to sell pieces to your viewers at what it cost me to build.
Which I'm very honored. Thank you so much for offering our viewers that.
What that also does is that gives somebody equity in the piece from the minute they buy it.
Right. But I definitely think if somebody likes a piece, I mean, the moment they see it, they will fall in love with it.
That's the idea.
Yeah, but hopefully you wouldn't be too sad because I know to you every piece is like
a baby.
Right. That's actually what I heard from
really
from one of your interviews too.
They really are. Every single piece I make is 100% my idea. And it's 100% me that makes it. I don't have a crew of people that are working for me that help me create these things. Everything I do,
but
I do myself.
every piece is so unique.
And that's the idea. I like to jump around and constantly challenge myself. And you know, I would like to say one more thing is that comfort zones, like if you do the same thing every day, you get really comfortable doing it. And comfort zones are great, but nothing really grows there because you're not challenging yourself and you're not getting out of that zone.
You're not jumping out of the box.
Exactly.
I totally agree. I mean, sometimes when I do other creative things, artistic stuff, I feel the same way too. Like sometimes you just literally have to challenge yourself.
And that's I live for the challenge.
Cool. Thank you so much, Chris, for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
Again, this is Life with Style with Shannon. We'll be right back.
Oh, don't forget to write to me about your thoughts for the show, or if there's a place you'd like to see in the town, or if you think your business is a real highlight of Vegas life and want it to be featured. We always do a lucky drawing among the viewers at the end of each episode and send out different surprises each week. No strings attached. So maybe you're the next lucky winner. Thanks for watching Shannon's Life with Style. Don't go away. We'll be right back.